More than 600 people died. Millions had to be evacuated. The painful scene we are witnessing is the flooding in Nigeria. So, how did Nigeria's most devastating flood of a decade sweep the country? Follow us for the latest photos below. Floods in Nigeria. Flooding is not unusual in Nigeria's large, densely populated cities. But this year's floods are said to be the country's worst in a decade. They have killed more than 600 people, displaced 1.4 million residents, and destroyed 89,348 homes and 70,566 hectares of farmland and crops. The video shows homes and businesses completely flooded, as well as people wading through waist-high water or using canoes to get around. Severe flooding has significantly affected several states in the south of the country, including Anambra Delta, Rivers, Cross River, and Bayelsa, Adamawa, Gombe, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kogi, Niger, Benue, and Nasarawa regions in the north of the country were also hit hard. On Thursday, drone footage in Lokoja, located in the north-central part of Kogi State, at the confluence of the Niger and Benue rivers, and which has been flooded for weeks, showed dozens of homes and facilities, businesses were sunk. Rainfall this year is higher than usual in both the south and the north. Rainfall has exacerbated the impact of the annual discharge of excess water from Kemio's Lagdo Dam. The dam is located on the Benue River, which flows through Nigeria. At Dantata Bridge in the coastal state of Kogi, tons of food and fuel stretched many kilometers far from their destination as the impact of Nigeria's worst flooding in 10 years unfolded. The bridge is a link that allows essentials to be connected between northern and southern Nigeria, including the capital, Abuja. But severe flooding for weeks in Kogi State has swept away farmland and photographs, affected access roads, including the Dantata Bridge. Flooding has covered farms and roads and slowed the transportation of food and fuel. Authorities are struggling to break the deadlock as soaring prices are making life more expensive for Nigerians. Authorities say more than 2 million people in 33 of Nigeria's 36 states have been affected. They blamed the flooding on torrential rainfall that began in July and the discharge of water from the Cameroon's Lagdo Dam. But experts say Nigeria's bad urban planning makes matters worse. In some cases, floodwaters have covered rooftops, completely submerging communities. Around the River Niger Bridge connecting Lagos to Onitsha and the rest of eastern Nigeria, large parts of the surrounding communities were submerged underwater, crippling the economic activity of many small merchants and farmers. The situation became so dire that Sadiya Umar Farouk, Nigeria's Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, ordered the 5 state governments to prepare to evacuate residents living along the floodplain. In Anambra, one of those states, 76 people died trying to flee floods after an escape boat capsized. Flooding isn't a new challenge in Nigeria. It's one of the country's most common natural disasters. During the rainy seasons from March to July and mid-August to mid-October in the south and July to October in the north, major rivers often burst their banks. Dams also broke. This caused flooding in many states of Nigeria, among them Delta, Kogi, Anambra, Bayelsa, Amada, Mawa, and Niger. The disaster also raised fears of impending health and humanitarian crisis as communities are dealing with shortages of basic goods and clean water. Dead bodies, garbage, and sewage in the water pose additional health risks to those who have to wade through flooded roads. Thousands of homes and farmland, roads, and other critical infrastructure have been damaged or destroyed. The widespread flooding was driven by extreme rainfall and the discharge of water from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon, neighboring Nigeria. Nigeria has launched a national response plan for state and local governments and provides food and food supplies to the states. Officials say flooding has affected 27 of Nigeria's 36 states, and flooding is expected to last for several more weeks. Matthias Kamil, the United Nations Humanitarian Coordinator for Nigeria, says climate change plays a role in exacerbating flooding. Rising temperatures have prompted more evaporation in the atmosphere, leading to more frequent and intense rainfall and drought conditions. Sadiya Umar Farouk, Minister for Humanitarian Affairs, this week said states and local governments have failed to take appropriate action to prepare for extreme flooding despite forecasts, and called for local communities pay attention to climate projections. Farouk also urged officials to prepare for greater flooding by evacuating floodplain residents to high ground, as well as providing tents, relief materials, and medical supplies economic for the community. Flooding has also destroyed crops in much of the farmland, mainly in the northern region of Nigeria, which produces much of what the country eats, raising fears it could further affect the food supplies that have been disrupted due to armed conflict in the northwestern and central regions of the country. In addition, fuel supplies were disrupted due to flooding. During the crisis, food prices were inflated by 23%. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations and the World Food Programme, Nigeria faces a high risk of catastrophic levels of hunger. In an October 13 briefing, the United Nations Humanitarian Coordinator for Nigeria, Matthias Kamil, pointed out that 19 million people in Nigeria are food insecure and 14.7 million children are at risk of food insecurity, nutrition. About 400,000 children in the north and northeast of the country and another 500,000 in the northwestern states of Sokoto, Zamfara, and Katsina are at risk of severe acute malnutrition. Flooding is expected to continue through November for the southern states of Anambra, Delta, Rivers, Cross River, and Bayelsa. 3 of Nigeria's reservoirs, Kainji, Jeba, and Shiroro, are expected to overflow. The historic flood had a huge impact on Nigeria. Therefore, let's pray for Nigeria to soon overcome the pain and recover the economy as soon as possible. Do you agree with our proposal or not? The recent information also ended today's video. Thank you all for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe button to receive the latest notifications about our videos. Goodbye and see you in the next videos.